Hey there everyone, and welcome back to the Crypto 101 channel. My name is Brendan, and we are going to be starting things off hot today because the crypto market is up across the board. We have Bitcoin up 7%, Coinbase stock up 18%, and we even have GBTC up an astonishing 21%. Now all this stems from a recent court ruling against the SEC in the Grayscale ETF case, which we're going to be talking about in depth in today's video. So if you don't understand what's happening and why this is significant, don't worry, we're going to be breaking it down and telling you everything that you need to know. But more importantly, this puts all the Bitcoin ETFs out there. It doesn't matter if it's Invesco, BlackRock's, it puts all of them one step closer to becoming a reality. So we're going to be explaining this. We're also going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin and how this, again, has drastically moved to the upside, erasing most of the gains that we saw in the last week to week and a half. And finally, we also have Elon Musk talking about how he wants to make X one step closer to processing crypto payments, and they actually just got an approval in Rhode Island for this. So there's a lot to talk about in today's video. If this does interest you, all that we ask is that you consider hitting the like and subscribe button. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on in here. So what's the deal with this recent ETF case with Grayscale? Does this mean that Grayscale now has the first Bitcoin ETF? Well, unfortunately, it doesn't, but again, this is still a really good thing for crypto as a whole. So if you remember a while back, Grayscale tried to convert their Bitcoin trust into an ETF. The SEC said, no, you're not allowed to do this. This is wrong. We are going to deny you. Now, Grayscale was very, very upset about this, and they were completely justified in being upset. But now what we have is that yesterday, Tuesday, we had the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit ruling against the SEC, or the Security and Exchange Commission, saying that they were wrong to deny Grayscale permission to convert its Bitcoin trust into an ETF. Now, following this, again, we had Bitcoin rally 7% to the upside. We had Coinbase stock just soaring. But I want to talk about kind of why this is important, because it's fairly common knowledge that once a Bitcoin ETF does get approved, crypto is going to skyrocket. Like the price of most cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, is just going to take off after this happens. And I agree with that. But what a lot of people aren't talking about is how there is still this price disparity between Bitcoin and GBTC. So even now, even after the big move that GBTC just had, it's still not completely caught up to Bitcoin in terms of parity-wise. And so what we saw yesterday was, again, remember the fact that Bitcoin rallied 7%. If we go and we measure GBTC yesterday, I mean, at its peak, this thing was up 20 to 21%. And even now, it's up about 12%, even after the retrace. So this thing is moving at about 2 to 3 times what Bitcoin is doing right now, because it's trying to catch up. Now, the big reason why it's doing this, why it's seeing these big moves to the upside in an attempt to catch up to its pairing, is because people really haven't been able to pull a lot of money out of this Grayscale Bitcoin trust that has existed. If the ETF happens and they convert the Bitcoin trust into an ETF, in theory, that should fix the pairing of GBTC and the price of Bitcoin. So if that pairing's fixed, then that means that essentially the Grayscale ETF will immediately catch back up to the price of Bitcoin. Everything's going to go normal. People are going to be able to sell. And right now, there just is this price disparity. So a lot of people are kind of worrying about, like, hey, you know, what's going to happen with my GBTC? And ultimately, this is a good thing for everyone. So we're kind of rooting for Grayscale to win this here. And so far, we're seeing a lot of good stuff. And so with this Court of Appeals in DC ruling this, it shows that the SEC's case against ETFs across the board, doesn't matter if it's Invesco, BlackRock, doesn't matter, WisdomTree, they are fighting a losing battle. And we see this. And because, again, there's so many different players and they talk about it over here, this is just going to increase the likelihood that these ETFs are eventually going to come. And it no longer looks as if it's a matter of if, it's slowly starting to look like it's a matter of when. And so we have ETF applications from BlackRock, we have them from Fidelity, we have them from WisdomTree, VanEck, Invesco, and a bunch of other players. And the way that this is likely to play out is that if one gets approved, it's just going to be a domino effect. And it could even be the case that if one gets approved, multiple get approved at the same time. So that's another likely scenario that we talked about in a recent video. So if we switch over from the GBTC chart over to the Bitcoin chart, Bitcoin nearly erased almost all of the losses that it saw about a week and a half ago on this leg down. We saw this really nasty move to the downside, double digits across the board for crypto. But with this candle yesterday, I mean, we almost erased all of this move to the downside. And this wasn't even the ETF news. So yesterday we got a taste, we got an inkling of what an ETF approval could be like. We just had news coming out saying, hey, an ETF is now more likely to happen. It didn't even get approved. We just have like these little macro, or not even macro, we have these little micro details that we're getting fed bits of information, and it's moving the market 7% to the upside. And so that really makes me excited for when a Bitcoin ETF does get approved, we're going to see a big old candle. And, personally, it's something that I'm ready for. Now, on our final bit of news over here, Elon Musk is trying to make X one step closer to these crypto payments, and he just got a new state license for this. Now, what does this mean? Well, regulators from Rhode Island have just approved X's application for a currency transmitter license. Try to say that 3 times. But if you remember back to our video from, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we talked about how this was something that was very likely to come, and how about they were trying to make crypto payments from X, and how it could very well be something that is coming to the platform. And sure enough, here we are a few weeks later, and that's exactly the direction that X is trying to go here, and that's the direction that Elon wants to push the platform. Again, he wants to make this an everything platform, and it would just make sense that if this is an everything platform, then people should be able to pay for stuff in crypto if it's already going to be available on the platform, in other methods. So crypto payments are coming here, and the stuff and the big adoption that we've all been waiting for is so much closer than a lot of people realize. And I hope everyone's getting excited about this as I am, because this is the kind of stuff that fires me up. As someone who has been in the space for a really long time, we've always said, hey, when is going to be the day when we have these big companies filing for Bitcoin ETFs? When is going to be the day where we see the largest media, the largest tech companies using crypto and offering it as payment methods? And it's finally here, and we see it in the news, and it is so close to becoming a reality. It's something that just stirs the pot and gets me excited, and I hope all of you are just as excited as I am. So that's going to round us up for today's video. If you did enjoy this, again, all that I ask is that you smash the like button, you smash the subscribe button, because we got a lot more content just like this one coming out multiple times a week, every single week, and we got a lot of stuff planned. So that's going to wrap us up. Thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you in the next video.